You are sitting at your desk, staring at a mounting pile of emails. Your heart is racing and your breath is shallow. It feels like the workload is the primary problem. But what if the stress isn't actually about the deadline? What if your reaction is actually a ghost from your past? We need to look at your childhood roles. In dysfunctional or high-stress families, children often adopt specific roles to survive. These roles are not personality traits, they are survival strategies. They are designed to navigate chaos. Psychologists call these survival scripts. They are subconscious patterns of behavior that helped you feel safe when your environment felt unpredictable. They became your default settings. The problem is that these scripts follow you into your adult life. They migrate from the dinner table to the boardroom. They dictate how you handle every professional crisis. Consider the hero child. You were the high achiever who always stayed out of trouble. You felt that your value was tied directly to your accomplishments. You learned to solve problems to keep the family stable. Being perfect was your way of ensuring that things didn't fall apart. You became the glue. As an adult, that hero often becomes the burnt-out manager. You feel a crushing sense of responsibility for every single outcome. You cannot let anyone else fail. You struggle to delegate because you don't trust others to meet your standards. You believe that if you stop working, the entire project will collapse. This leads to a cycle of chronic overextension. You are running a marathon to prove a worthiness that was decided decades ago. Then there is the peacemaker. As a child, you were the mediator. You were the one who smoothed over arguments and kept the atmosphere calm. You became an expert at reading subtle shifts in emotion. You learned to anticipate conflict before it even happened. Your survival depended on harmony. In the workplace, this translates into chronic conflict avoidance. You find it nearly impossible to deliver hard feedback or stand your ground. You prioritize social harmony over efficiency or truth. You often say yes to extra work just to avoid a moment of tension with a colleague. This creates a deep, quiet resentment. You are sacrificing your own boundaries to maintain a peace that isn't actually real. Finally, consider the scapegoat. You were the child who was often blamed for the family's tension. You were the one who was always wrong. You learned that being the target was your primary identity. You carried the weight of everyone else's mistakes just to make sense of the chaos. In your career, this manifests as subtle self-sabotage. You might miss deadlines or make mistakes that you know are avoidable. You are subconsciously trying to control the outcome. If you fail on your own terms, it hurts less than being surprised by failure. It is a preemptive strike against the rejection you expect from authority. You beat them to the punch so they can't catch you off guard. Why does this happen? It is not a character flaw, it is biology. Your brain is designed to prioritize survival over accuracy. Your brain creates neural pathways based on your earliest experiences. These paths become deeply ingrained, acting as shortcuts for your nervous system. When professional stress hits, your amygdala takes over. It triggers the old survival response, treating a critical email like a physical threat. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between a demanding boss and a volatile parent. It simply sees a threat and reacts accordingly. You aren't failing at your job. You are simply using an outdated operating system to solve modern problems. Breaking these scripts starts with radical self-awareness. You must learn to recognize the physical sensation of an old role taking over. Once you notice the pattern, you can create a gap. In that gap, you can choose a new adult response instead of a childhood reaction. You can practice setting boundaries or delegating tasks. You are teaching your brain that you are finally safe enough to be yourself. Here's something most people don't know about the brain. Your personality isn't a fixed stone. Through neuroplasticity, you can actually rewire the neural pathways that trigger these old survival instincts. Your past shaped your initial responses, but it doesn't have to dictate your future. The next time you feel overwhelmed, stop and ask yourself, who am I trying to save right now?